The following program is a Creative Magic Network production. Hey guys, today's show is What's Your Excuse with Max Ivy, known around the world as the blind blogger. He's my friend, he's my colleague, he's my co-host. People so often say, if Max can do it, then why can't I? So let's get to it right now. Alrighty, hello everybody, welcome. Hi Max, how are you?
I'm just fine today. How are you doing, Frederic?
I am fabulous. It's a great time right now to be a positive person. It is a great time. Ain't it, Max? It's an important time to be a positive individual right now. And in the middle of all this fluff, in the middle of all this, all this powder and clouds, this is the ray light. This show right now is the ray light. But I'll let you do the intro, Max. You're so good at intros.
Well, today what we've decided to do is basically we're going to take a page or a chapter out of my book, Leading You Out of the Darkness into the Light, A Blind Man's Inspirational Guide to Success. We're going to talk about Chapter 8 here on the What's Your Excuse show. And that's the chapter about staying positive and finding the good in life, people, and events around you. And it's as you were saying, Frederic, it's important to be thinking positively and be looking for the good in your fellow human being today. I know that the election that just took place was only an American phenomenon, but it seems like everybody in the world has an opinion, and some people are just so stressed, so confused, so angered, so worried. And so today I figured we could talk about being positive. And as you know, and as a lot of people who follow me online know, I like to take my lessons from things that happen to me in my everyday life. And because I feel like there's pretty much a lesson every day if you look for them. If you keep your heart and mind open to what's going on in your life, you will be taught lessons whether you want to or not. And I think today is a perfect example. For people who aren't aware, we are live right now. We are live on Spreaker for our very first time, and this is something we are going to do again. Hopefully it'll become a regular thing if we can just get the scheduling with the guests and everything figured out. But that's the great thing about doing these podcasts is there's always something new to learn. But the thing is, the reason we're on Spreaker and the reason we're having this conversation today is we missed connecting with our guests for this week. I'm not going to mention any names because I don't want to call nobody out. But the point is we could have said, we don't have a guest. We could have scrambled around to find somebody at the last minute. We could have complained about it, but instead we decided, okay, me and Frederic are awesome individuals. We will just hang out for 15 or 20 minutes or however long it lasts and see if we can inspire and motivate and encourage some folks while we're doing it. So I hope y'all know that we're on Spreaker. It was kind of I don't think we posted anything on social media about this beforehand. We will afterwards for sure. Our next scheduled live broadcast will be on December the 22nd, which I think is a Thursday at 10 o'clock Eastern time, because I'll be on the last leg of my train ride to New York City. It'll be the last time I get to take a deep breath before I step out into the insanity that is New York City during the holidays. So that's something y'all can put on your calendars and look forward to. But today we're going to talk about being positive in the face of negative events. Already shared one small thing, the show today, and thank you, Frederic, for getting us on Spreaker and making us go live and getting all the technical stuff done. Right. Would like to share a couple of events that have happened to me over the years.
Right before I do that, though, right before we get into it, I just want to give a little intro to who I am. Maybe those folks out there don't know who I am. I'm Frederic Bai. Who's Frederic Bai? And they know who Max Ivy is, right? You're known around the world as a blind blogger. You have all these followers on Twitter, on Facebook, on everywhere. But for me, people, I'm Frederic By, the man of the hour, the man with the power, too sweet to be sour, funky like a monkey. Hey, I sting like a bee, produce sweet honey, and I am pretty. And, it's very important. It's a very, very important subject, Max, as you mentioned. But, basically, I'm also the host of the Frederic By Show. And I'm proud. I'm proud to be here. And I'm proud to be live. We're testing this out, this Spreaker thing. And it's pretty darn cool. But, hey, I just want to put my stuff in. and I'll let you go, Max. Go ahead. Take it away.
Yeah, I tend to go long to run on, and I keep telling people that in 2016 my word was brevity, and I'm doing so well with it in 2016. I'm going to try it again in 2017. That's going to be my word for next year. But yeah, it is all about deciding to be positive and finding the good that is out there, however small it may be. People ask me all the time, Max, is it easy to be positive? And I tell them, no, it's not easy, but anybody can do it if they practice. And right. Of course, the first thing is you have to decide that you want to be happy and positive and optimistic. And then once you decide that's who you want to be, then you have to purposely look for events that confirm that. I like to say that being an optimistic, positive person is kind of like finding the remote to your TV. You know it's in the room somewhere, so you keep looking for it. You go through the couch cushions, you hunt underneath the console. You know it's there somewhere, so you keep looking for it. And I think that's the thing with having a positive outlook is that you know that somebody is going to come into or that something good is going to happen. You don't know when or where, but you know it will, and you just keep looking for it until it gets there. And so some days it's harder to find that that ray of sunshine. Some days it's harder to find it than others.
Right.
But as long as you keep looking for it, keep open to it, it will happen. And then, of course, when bad things happen, that doesn't mean that the bad thing has to ruin your day or feel like it's crushed your soul. It's all in how you deal with the bad thing. And I've had some minor bad things and some really horrible bad things. My favorite example of a bad experience that I was able to find some good in was 3 years ago now when I sold a carousel for a guy up in Vermont. And some people know this, some don't. My day job is helping people sell new and used amusement equipment. I grew up in a carnival family, and when the carnival went out of business, I turned to sell amusement equipment because it was something I knew and something I felt that I could do as a profession now that I was no longer a carny anymore. So even that's an example of finding good in things. I was contacted by a fellow from Vermont to list a carousel his family had bought at an auction and had in storage for 10 years. They sent me some pictures of it, and I told the guy how I worked, that I would expect to receive my commission, and he said everything was cool. He said that, we agreed that if I got him X amount of dollars, that anything over that amount would be mine. I posted a photo of the ride while I was working on getting everything, lined out and making a really good listing for it on my website. I posted the photo, shared it on social media, and I had a buyer for the carousel within 30 minutes.
Wow.
The buyer visited the ride within 2 weeks. He purchased the ride within 30 days, and within 60 days from the first contact about this carousel, it was in Australia being unloaded off of a ship, and they were breaking open containers and unloading this ride 2 months afterwards. The ride sold for $230,000, and my commission was supposed to have been $25,000.
Wow.
And yeah, I know. Well, after the sale closed, the guy stopped returning my phone calls.
Oh.
He didn't reply to emails. He didn't reply to texts. He went so far as to block my cell phone number so I could not call him. His business, in addition to, he has a business where they sell used cars, which maybe should have been a tip-off for me, but that's not to say that all, used car people are bad, because, I sell used amusement equipment. But in this particular case, the people at his car lot were instructed not to tell me he was there. So, and I went, eventually I decided, okay, this guy's not going to pay me. What can I do? Well, I talked to my uncle from Tony from South Carolina, who's a real estate agent. He said, well, Max, it all comes down to whether or not you have anything that says he agreed to pay you. He said, even an email will work if you have one. So I go looking through all my emails, and I realized that the only times we ever discussed the money was over the phone. So I've got nothing to prove that he agreed to pay me. And so, after continuing to try to get this guy to pay me, I realized, okay, I'm never going to see this money. But I did post that I sold the carousel, and I, mentioned to people that I felt like it really confirmed my social media networks, my email mailing list, the strength of my business to help other people sell equipment, because I had sold a $250,000 ride, a ride that, being a double-decker carousel that was meant for indoor use, would have a very small number of potential buyers, and sold it so quickly and so smoothly as far as the buyer and seller were concerned, that was a positive. I had other people who emailed me wanting to know if I would help them locate hard-to-find equipment because of selling that ride. The website traffic spiked. I got thousands of new visitors. I wrote a blog post about it and got lots of comments on the blog post. I didn't mention that, the sale didn't go well for me personally, because I felt like that would do, one, that would be negative. It wouldn't be who I am. But the other thing is, I thought, Max, if you call these guys out on social media, all it's going to do is encourage other people not to pay you. They're going to think, if this happened once, I'll hire Max and maybe I won't pay him either. So that's the other reason why I didn't call him out on social media. I wanted to. I really wanted to. Well, that plus my dad's one of those, or was one of those Southern gentlemen from South Carolina who, he just didn't raise me to be that kind of person. So I didn't call him out personally on social media, but I did mention the sale had gone through, and people were really positive about that. I got a lot of great comments on it. I also mentioned it to the Mutual of Omaha's AHA Now community, and they said some really nice things about me, and they sent me $100 Amazon gift card that I used to buy some new clothes, which were the first new clothes I had bought since losing all the weight. So that was really cool, to get a new pair of jeans that weren't somebody else's. And I like to joke that at that time that pretty much the only pants I owned had drawstrings, and the only shirts I owned were t-shirts. So it was nice to get some new clothes, and for them to mention me on their website. And every so often when something really good happens, I go and share it with them people, because they seem to like me posting over there. So there were lots of wins that came out of it. And the other thing that came out of that, plus a couple other sales, I seem to be kind of known for selling carousels. That seems to be like my thing, or one of them, for the Midway, because I've sold 3 or 4 carousels over the last few years, and all of them have been big indoor type mall carousels. None of them were that kind of price range, sadly. But yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to, a brand new carousel is like $1 million investment. I've never sold a new ride. Right. And that's one of the goals I have for next year, is sell a new ride. But back to the point, the guy didn't pay me, but I didn't, I had about, 5 or 10 minutes when I was really upset about it. But the rest of the time it was, okay, how can I use this? How can I avoid this happening in the future? And Since then, I no longer do any work for anybody without getting at least one email saying that they agree to pay me. If I have questions about the person, I'll even get them to confirm that by sending me something in the actual postal mail. So that's one of my worst experiences ever, as far as being negative, because for me and for a lot of people who are small business owners who are listening to this, they're thinking, $25,000, that's like a year or more's worth of income.
Yeah.
And to have that just disappear on you, and to be counting on it, or as and I've already been starting to make a list of what I was going to spend the money on.
Yeah.
Them Christmas lists, man, they can be fun, but they can be really depressing too.
Right.
If you've started to make one out, and then wait a minute, the money ain't here. But so that's one of my worst. That's probably my worst experience. Like I say, if you think about it, if you want to find something good, you can. If you're wanting to find simply the negative, you can. I have a couple of people that I know who I try not to spend a lot of time talking to, who they are only happy when they're unhappy or when they're making somebody else unhappy.
Yeah. That's true. We'll get to that. Once again, you're listening to Max Ivy, What's Your Excuse with Max Ivy. And the title of this episode is Finding the Positive, What to Do When Things Don't Go Your Way. It happens to all of us. And if you have a passion, people, if you have something that fuels your curiosity, well, on top of getting fascinating interviews and stories, such as this one that you just heard, straight to your inbox when you subscribe to our free Creative Magic community, you will get super cool exclusives in return, such as the ebook Happiness Quotes by the ambassador of happiness herself, Maura Sweeney, one of our hosts, and also an exclusive conversation with two of my favorite people, Nigerian sensation Alex Okoroji, and yours truly, the blind blogger, Max Ivy. You're listening to him right now. This piece, we talk about the influence of friends and college education on our lives, the competitiveness in a crowded field, the importance of business and financial education in arts and entrepreneurship, and more. Also, Alex has a special gift for you inside the free book. I promise you will get inspired and entertained. And yeah, it produces sweet honey. You can subscribe for free at FredericBuy.com. That's Frederic with a C, buy like bye-bye.com. Yeah, I can hear you. And let me ask you this. During when you were supposed to get this $25,000, right? Were you thinking investment? Were you thinking stuff? Were you thinking, because the life of an entrepreneur, it's like, it's on 1 month you make no money, but the other month you make a lot of money, and when you make a lot of money, oftentimes your nerves and your joy just takes over, and your excitement takes over, and then you start spending that money because you've been starving the month before. You know what I mean? This kind of wave.
That's a really great question because of of the kind of person I am when it comes to money, Frederic. I love that you asked that question because most people would not have made that next leap. Here's the thing. I have been the responsible one in my family for a long time now. I'm the guy who saves his money while other people spend theirs. And then when bad shit happens and somebody needs money, I'm usually the guy they go get it from. So I'm bad about spending money on myself. I am known for being one of the worst tightwads ever with my own money. I will spend it like it's nothing on other people, especially if I think they need it. But spending it on myself is a hard thing. I mean, we actually have a thing now in my family where before a birthday or before Christmas or I actually sit down and make a list of things that I want. And it used to be really hard to come up with things that I wanted. But it's gotten easier the more that I've done it. But now, used to they would make fun of me because it's like, well, Max, what are we going to get Max? Because there isn't really anything he wants. Here's an example of one of our conversations. Like, Okay, Max gets all of his books from the library, so we can't buy him a book on tape or an audiobook. He downloads movies and TV shows with audio descriptions, so we can't buy him a DVD. He generally sings or listens to music on his radio, so buying him a CD wouldn't work. He doesn't wear really nice clothes, so it's not like buying him a suit. So I mean, it's just trying to come up with things that I want that is so. In this particular case, I was not thinking about investing the money. I was not thinking about what the money could do for the business. I was thinking about what could I do with this money that would be fun.
Yeah, I hear you. And what part of your book? You give us a quote from your book. I think in your book you have so many great quotes about just finding the positive and the negative. And it's like today it's. Okay, we got to talk about the election, right? And I don't want to go on. No. We weren't supposed to talk about it, but look, I don't want to go on a rant. I think for me, it's not going to matter in the long run. I really believe that. But a lot of people are upset. A lot of people, because everything is emotional. Everything is emotions in the moment, in this. But when you look at the big picture of things, I learned in life, these moments, they're high in emotions, but in the big picture, not that they don't matter, but they everything smooths itself out at some point. And the way I see it is, it's up to every individual in their own lives to do those small little steps every single day. Whether you're running a business, whether you're being an employee, or whatever you're doing, you have a family. And to just focus on yourself, because these things won't directly affect you. They may indirectly affect you, but you understand what I'm saying, Max?
Oh yeah, I agree with you. All you can really control in life is what you do or how you feel about what happens around you. And for people who are getting up this morning in the U.S. and are looking at the election results and thinking, what does this mean? One thing that we should be reminded of in this country is that the U.S. government is a huge bureaucracy. It rarely does anything in a hurry, regardless of campaign promises from one side or the other. People have gotten emotionally involved in the Affordable Care Act. That took a couple of years to get passed initially. Nothing in this country happens quickly, especially when it comes to politicians doing it, because as I like to say, you can never underestimate the ability of people to make easy things hard. And I think that when you realize that our Congress is made up of 538 individuals, regardless of party affiliation, regardless of what color they may have put down on their applications when they ran for those offices, you still got 538 individuals, real live human beings who have their own individual personal opinions, beliefs, and experiences that go into what they think the right decision will be on any particular issue. So yeah. I agree with you. It's it's definitely the wrong time to get excited or to go into a depression or a funk. Just continue to do what you can. You talk about the book. There's a lot of great things in the book. One of the things that comes to mind this minute is not an exact quote, because I'm just me quoting my own book is just something I have difficulty doing. It probably would be easier if I could open a page and look at it and read it to you. But in the one section I talk about once you figured out the goal, then you make a list of things you need to learn, do, or acquire in order to accomplish the goal. And then you break those down into 4 groups. And I like to say, if you can do it, go ahead and do something about it now. If you can't do it, can you learn how to do it? If you can't do it or learn how to do it, can you get somebody to do it for you, either as a volunteer, a family member, or hiring somebody to do it? If you can't do it, learn it, or get somebody to do it for you, then put it off to the side and don't think about it or worry about it, because there's so much that there, if you spend time concentrating on stuff you can actually have some influence over, you don't have time to worry about the stuff off to the side that you can't do anything about right this minute.
Right. No, that's true.
And I think what you were just saying there is perfectly is right on. People need to focus on their families, their businesses, their churches, their communities, and getting through each day the best that they can at this time. And politicians change. There'll be another election in a year for certain state or local elections. There'll be another election after that in the next year for Congress and some senators. It's one thing about these politicians, they run for office constantly. I think that's about all some of them do. As a matter of fact, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine this week. You want to talk about finding the positive in something that did, because I'll admit I was pulling for Hillary. I would have liked to have seen our first woman president. Talking about if things don't go your way, trying to find a positive in them. I was talking to my friend this week, Yvonne Garris from FreshOutlookCoach.com. She's a coach who helps people dealing with grief and with newly disabled people. And we were talking about how these people running for office, they spend millions and billions of dollars on an almost annual basis. We need to figure out how to get some of that money. Is there some way that the blind blogger could coach a politician? Because I got to get some of that money, man. They throw that money away like they're printing it. And unfortunately, I can't really think of a way yet. But it's one of those things I'm thinking of. In a year or 2 years, is there some way that I can, maybe as an online media specialist, I can get some of that campaign money?
Yeah. I hear you. Go ahead.
But yeah, you have to focus on what you can do something about. Focus on your individual life, and this is a time when really you should be more worried about your family, about your own physical health, your spiritual, mental well-being. Let the rest of these people worry about themselves. Let the country take care of itself. And focus especially today. I wish we had known we were going to do this on Monday, so we could have advertised this better. But especially today, run your race, play your course, solve your puzzle, and let everybody else worry about themselves at least for one day. And if you can do it for one day, the odds are you can do it again tomorrow.
Right. In my case, there are a lot of events that, I had to find the positive in. And one of them is I was a financial advisor, and no, I won't talk about it's so boring to talk about that. Just pronouncing financial advisors bores the heck out of me. I love investing, I love money, and I love all that stuff, and it's pretty exciting to me. But, it's not a job, to be an advisor. It's not a job that I was excited in. Anyways, to make a long story short, you can buy clients. It's called a book of business. So you buy clients. I had 800 clients, and you just talk. You call them. Lots of them haven't been called in a while. In a long time, and they're yours. You get regular cash flow income from that from the products that they have, right? So, make a long story short, I remember being in a business and I wasn't feeling it. I remember my manager talking to me like I was in a car with her coming out of an appointment with somebody, and she's like, and I had been 4 months in the business at that point. She says to me, so how'd you like it so far? Do you love it? Do you like it so far? And I remember thinking, holy cow, like, am I supposed to like it already? Like, isn't that too early to like it? You know what I mean? Like, I was not digging it, but, I told her, I said, yeah, which was the biggest lie of my life, right? And it felt like, not in my stomach. It was like, ooh, okay, well, that's not good. So anyway, fast forward a year or so later, I do my thing, and I go to Guadeloupe, and I tell my folks, I tell my managers and all that, I'll be gone for a month. Went out for a month. I came back here, and I didn't I mean, I never got back on the horse. I mean, it's like something in me was just not able to do it anymore. It was like, right? So, and I have this business, right? That I paid for. I took a loan for, right? So, fast forward, 6 months later, I go to the general manager, say, hey, I don't think this is working out for me. And mind you, I didn't really work for a while there. I was just thinking, like, what the heck? What's my purpose? Like, what the hell am I doing? What's next? Like, I didn't know. Should I stay? Should I go? If I go, what do I do? Da da da. And it was like I felt being in that business. It was like the killing of my dream, of my spirit. You know what I mean? Little by little, just chew. Yeah. So, make a long story short, maybe that was maybe I came back from Guadeloupe, let's say in September. In June of the next year, I say, send an email, I'll say, okay, I'm gone. Bam. Now, I own this business, right? So, I go, well, what's up with my business? I got to sell it because he says, manager says, hey, don't worry about it. I got this, blah, blah, blah. Buff, empty my closet. I clean all of my stuff. I get the heck out of there. And then, it says that I have 90 days to sell the business. Okay, then what happens after 90 days? Well, the manager says, I don't know. You don't know. You've been in this business for 20 years. You're going to tell me you don't know what's going to happen after 90 days, right? He says, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I got this. I told him, So, 45 days later, no news, no nothing. It's summer. It's July, right? Or August. It's I get nothing. And it's not like I feel, I'm out. And once you're out of the door in these types of businesses, you're out of the door. Like, they don't care about you anymore, right? It's like being out. So what I do, I said, you know what? I'm going to take it I'm going to take it within my hands. I'm going to take it. I'm going to do this. What I did, I grabbed the email of 80% of the office, and I sent an email to each and every one of them. Hey, I have a business to sell. Within 20 seconds, I got my first offer. 20 effing seconds, I got my first offer. I meet with certain people, and this guy with experience, he says, he's been in the business for a while. He wants to buy the business. We're negotiating, right? Now, mind you, at this time, I had so much help to buy business, because when you buy that business in that industry, the managers make money. Because you buy a business from outside or whatever, right? Because I bought business from other areas. So, the person I was going to sell it to at that point, zero help. I never negotiated in my life. I never, you know what I mean? Like, I have no experience by myself, and these guys that I'm negotiating with, they know that I'm on my way out. They know that I am quote unquote motivated seller, right? So, he says to me, watch me. Because when you have clients, you're supposed to have priority over these clients. Nobody can call them, right? So he said, in front of me, he says, watch this. He calls the office, the main office. He says, hey, can I have information on such and such client? And the lady checks, and whose client is this? The guy asks. And she says, well, he's not assigned to anybody. Well, wait a minute, I paid for that client. You know what I mean? I paid for these clients. And now he's not assigned to anybody. In other words, anybody right now can buy and go see these clients. My money is still in it. And he got all the information in front of me. He got all the information he needed. And he, whatever conversation ended, whatever. And he said, that's the way it is. These managers, they can, with a click of a button, they can just, unassign you, right? And he says to me, what happens after the 90 days? He says, they keep the clients. That's the law. That's just the rules that they are. What happens to my money? Well, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like, what in after 90,
they keep after 90 days, they keep your money, and they will resell those clients to somebody else after 90 days.
There you go. They keep the clients. They can sell it to somebody else, and I'm stuck with the loan. So anyway, you can imagine the stress. I felt betrayed. I felt angry. I felt. Trust me, I have this place here close to my home that it's in the forest. I have a forest close to here. Trust me, I don't know how many times I went in that forest during that period, but every single day, maybe 2-3 times a day. I don't know. It was the only place that I felt at peace. Okay, I felt betrayed. I felt. It was indescribable. So I was lucky in the end. I didn't react, because it's easy in these situations to react, to go after the people who betray, who you feel betrayed you. But I didn't do that. And he gave me an offer. Yes, I did lose a little bit of money, but I didn't lose all of my money. He was fair with me. He could have really screwed me. He could have really, really screwed me. And I sold my business to somebody else too. And she obviously, I lost a little bit of money there too. If I count the amount of money that I made off the cash flow, I made a little money. But if I just say, okay, what price did I buy it and what price did I sell it at, then I lost money, right? If I do it that way. So
yeah.
Anyway, to make a long story short, I sold it. I got lucky, and then when my manager learned that I sold it to this because the guy that called the office wasn't part of our office, right? They're in competitions in the areas, right? They have different offices, and they kind of in competition. They are cooperating, but so if I sell my business in their office, then the office that I'm in, my manager loses the money because he loses cash flow, he loses the business, right? And man, my manager, because I was naive, and I said, "Hey, can I sell my business to these guys?" That was a stupid thing to do, and he just says, "I'm losing patience with you, Fred." Blah blah blah, and it's like, oh, okay, you're upset. Okay, long story short, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, from the office who wants to buy the business. Like all of a sudden, my manager says, "Yeah, I have people for you." And all of a sudden, when he learned that I was about to sell my business to these other guys, then all of a sudden, people popped up and said, "Hey, man, everything we did for you, blah blah blah," And I sold my business to these other guys, and everything. I lost, but my losses were not as big as they could have been. And in many ways, I feel that I did outplay them a little bit, But the purpose of that story is that, thank God that I didn't react. Does that make sense? That I didn't.
Yeah, I also think
it.
It's important. I also think it's important that you found a place that you could find peace and serenity by going to a forest. Some people meditate. Some people pray.
Absolutely.
Some people watch cartoons. Some people go to the beach. You went to the forest. I've recently finished reading Norman Vincent Peale's book about the power of positive thinking. And
I read that book a long time ago. It's one of my favorite.
Oh yeah. And one of the examples that he shared in there that I really love was this one guy. He's a harried businessman. I think he's a dentist or some sort of medical profession. He's just totally stressed out all the time. And, Norman Vincent Peale tells him to pray about it. And he says, you need to find some way that you can just let all of this stress in your day go when you leave the office. And he said he finally came up with an idea. And he shared it with Dr. Peale. He said, what I did was I went out and bought one of these big old-fashioned paper calendars that has a page for each day of the year, not just one for each month. He says, at the end of my work day, I walk over to the calendar, I stand in front of it, I pray this prayer, something to the effect of, God, it was a great day, or God, it was a horrible day. I want to thank you for the day, and I want to ask you to give me the strength to forget it, to leave it in your hands. He said, then after I pray that prayer, I reach up, I tear today's page off the calendar, I crumple it into a ball, and I throw it into the trash can. And when I walk out the door, everything that happened in the office up until that point is forgotten. And I think, that's my favorite example from his book, because it's one of those things where you have to give yourself a physical cue to let go of the hurts, whether we're talking something 5 minutes ago or just at the end of a stressful day. And so,
right.
It's good that you had the forest. One of the things that really causes people in our business a lot of problems when they have bad things happen to them is so many people that are working online are working in solitude. They don't have a staff, because when you're first starting out, if you aren't doing it yourself, it ain't getting done. A lot of people are working at their homes, so they're not going into an office every day. They feel like they should be professional and have a business attitude. So many of them, they try to work in a quiet workspace with very little visual distraction. And when it's just you, when you're the Lone Ranger and things go bad, it makes it really, really hard. And so that's why
we got 2 minutes left. We're gonna wrap this up. Yeah, we got to wrap this up. So last words, Max. Just 30 seconds. Right before we
look.
What do you got to say to those
positive
people? What do you got to say to those people who might be emotionally charged right now and kind of don't see the end of the road or the end of the tunnel?
Turn the TV and the radio off and hug your kids.
All right, good. I will agree with that. And like you said, Max, find a place of peace. Find meditation. If you like meditate, if you like to meditate, meditate. If you like to walk into the forest, walk into the forest. Find something that calms you. That calms you. I would like to thank those who pledged to our Patreon page. The Creative Magic Network is on Patreon right now. You are really helpful to the show, and we are grateful for your help. In case you're wondering, guys, Patreon is a simple way for you to contribute to the network every single month and get super cool exclusive rewards in return. I promise you will love the perks. Our Patreon page is buy.com. That's Frederic with the C. buy.com, and click Patreon in the header. Money is used to cover our production costs and editing time. You can contribute for as low as $1. And also, this podcast is free every time you download it on iTunes or Stitcher. Please go over there, or any other platform, really. We're on so many platforms now. So it is listener supported. Tell a friend, leave a 5-star review. It really helps a brother out. And also, guys, if you are an Amazon shopper, leave our Amazon links at frederickbuy.com. Amazon kicks back a few bucks to the show, and it helps cover production costs. A little bit like Patreon. At no additional cost to you, no hidden fees, no nothing. So if you like what you hear, you can help by going over to frederickbuy.com. That's Frederic with the C, buy.com. Click the Amazon link in the sidebar for all your online shopping. It is really that simple and market to find it easier. And Max, you have 2 books in the Creative Magic Store, don't you?
Yep, Leading You Out of the Darkness into the Light, a blind man's inspirational guide to success. And it's not the cookie, it's the bag. An easy-to-follow guide to weight loss success.
And what can we expect from these books?
Lots of positive, inspirational life lessons, personal stories, exercises you can perform that'll move you forward on your path to your big goal or dream.
All right, cool. That's pretty cool. And with this, guys, stay safe. And don't forget, live with purpose, passion, fire, and love. Bye-bye.